When a person goes missing, it's already creepy. When it's then unsolved for years and sometimes even decades, it's particularly creepy. When a disappearance eludes all the authorities, it asks many questions about what really happened. Our minds go wild with theories to fill in the gaps, but to this day we still don't truly know what happened during unsolved disappearances, and for all we know, the person responsible, if there is one, is still out there amongst us. That's perhaps the creepiest thing of all. Today we're going to look at the top 10 creepiest disappearances still unsolved. At number 10 is the disappearance of Angela Hammond from Clinton, Missouri. Angela had her life mapped out ahead of her. She was engaged with her first child on the way. At 4 months pregnant, Angela's unsolved crime is particularly tragic. On April 4th, 1991, she had planned to meet fiancé Rob for a night out. Feeling tired, probably due to the fact she was carrying her and Rob's child, she decided to cancel plans and let Rob know from a payphone. As she was talking, Angie was abducted by a man in a green pickup truck. Angie screamed and Rob took action, racing to the scene and saw the truck. He saw her struggling with the driver before managing to spin round and give chase. In doing so, he damaged his transmission and was cursed to see the pickup go off in the distance, never to be seen again. This was the last time she was seen. Next at 9 is Cindy James. On the 8th of June 1989, the 44-year-old nurse's body was found in an abandoned lot in Vancouver. She was drugged, strangled and hogtied. It was concluded her death was suicide, but it was made clear that in the 7 years leading up to Cindy's strange death, she had been tormented by someone sending her various threatening notes and items. Messages were left on the windshield of her car with a picture of a corpse being wheeled into a morgue. Raw meat was sent to her house, and even her dog, Heidi, was discovered shaking, scared and sitting in her own feces with a cord tied tightly around her neck. The warning signs were clear, but the police did nothing. The best they could come up with was a dubious claim of James having split personalities. At 8 is another Cindy, this time Cindy Anderson. In 1980, the 20-year-old was plagued by nightmares in which she was abducted and murdered by a stranger. Her family thought these to be premonitions of her subconscious fears. She was afraid of something even if she didn't know what it was. She worked as a legal secretary and was taking calls up to 9:45 a.m. Then nothing after 10. She was gone. Her car parked outside and her romance novel open on the page where the protagonist gets abducted at knife point. Her colleagues have witnessed her taking calls in the days leading up to it, which left her horrified, leading to the police being called to do a drive-by. This was in vain, as Anderson was never seen again. There were leads as an apparent female kidnapper phoned the police to say she was in a basement, but nothing came of it. There's also a theory she faked her own death because of the open romance novel, but as of today, no one knows what happened to Cindy. If you are enjoying this countdown video so far, please subscribe to our channel and help us grow. Next is the story of respected Penn State mathematician Boris Weisweiler, a keen hiker who decided to spend the winter break of 1984 in Chile. He never came home. Chilean officials claim their investigation determined he had fallen into a river and drowned, but declassified documents allege that a witness saw Weisweiler being interrogated at an agricultural commune before being shot point blank. To date, a body has not been recovered in Chile, and Boris Weisweiler's ultimate fate remains a mystery. What really happened to him? Just before the halfway mark on our list is the disappearance of best friends Patrick Warren, 11, and David Spencer, 13. They spent Boxing Day lazing about in their homes in Chelmsley Wood, a suburb of Birmingham, UK. They asked their parents if they could visit one of Patrick's brothers that evening, and they didn't come home. They never reached their destination either. Much later, Patrick's bicycle that he got for Christmas was found behind the gas station. A huge milk carton missing persons campaign attempted to retrieve the boys. Nothing came of it. Suspects were arrested, then freed. Attempts to find remains have also proved unfruitful, As of today, no one knows what happened to the boys that Christmas. At number 5 is 20-year-old Indiana University student Lawrence Spira. After a night out of heavy drinking with her boyfriend absent, she left a bar with a friend, Corey Rossman. After stopping at her apartment, they left shortly after and went back to his, where a roommate got him to bed. Spira insisted she wanted to get home. Instead, she ended up at the apartment of a neighbour to the friend's place, Jay Rosenbaum. He claimed that Spira left at 4:30 a.m. and that he saw her for the last time as she was heading south. A few hours later, Spira's boyfriend sent her a text and received a message from the bar she had been at saying she left the phone there. She was never seen again. 4 years later, 22-year-old Hannah Wilson was found murdered and dumped in a vacant lot 10 miles from the Bloomington campus after being reported missing. Daniel Messel was charged and convicted for the crime, but no links were ever found between him, the crime, or Spira. At number 4 is Madeline McCann, one of the most heavily reported missing persons cases ever known. Her family were on holiday in the Algarve when Madeline was 3 years old, and her parents left the children at home while they went out for a meal. When they got back, she was gone, with the other children confused as to why their parents hadn't been there to hear their cries for help. Since 2007, the British police, along with Interpol, have attempted to find a culprit. The parents themselves were removed as suspects, and some other suspects have been named, but no one officially charged. The area that the McCanns were staying in has since been found to be an infamous area for child abuse and trafficking. This is a case that remains far from closed. Our next case is that of 19-year-old Tara Caliso. On the morning of September 20th, 1988, Caliso told her mother to come hunt her down if she wasn't home before noon. When Tara didn't come home, her mother did exactly that. But what she didn't know was her daughter would never be coming home. While on her daily bike ride on her usual route, Tara disappeared with only her Walkman and cassette tape left behind. But it was the clue found months later that was more chilling. A Polaroid featuring a woman of Caliso's description and a young boy gagged and bound were found at a truck stop 1,500 miles away from Tara's home. After investigation, including Scotland Yard, it was confirmed to be her. Despite this key piece of evidence, there's still been no closure on the case. At number 2 is the chilling story of Antoinette Cayedito. On April 6, 1986, Penny Cayedito arrived at her apartment in New Mexico after a day at work. Her 3 daughters were sound asleep after the babysitter left. Penny had some chores to finish and got to bed at 3 a.m. After going to bed, there was a knock at the door, which Penny didn't hear, but 9-year-old Antoinette did and answered the door. The family woke to find her gone. Since then, 2 key pieces of information have been found. Police received a phone call out of the blue from a young girl saying that they had been taken. A man on the call can be heard saying, "Who told you you could use that phone?" before the line goes dead. Police weren't able to trace the call. Years later, a waitress in Carson City, Nevada, contacted police after a teenager left a note under a plate reading, "Help me, call police." Despite both clues, police have never found her. Our final disappearance is that of Mikaela Biggs in 1999. The 11-year-old and her sister were waiting outside their Arizona home for an ice cream truck. Mikaela was riding her younger sister's bike. Kimber told her sister that she was going inside because she was cold. When she returned less than 2 minutes later, she saw her bike lying in the road with her sister nowhere to be seen. A huge search party found nothing. Years passed and still nothing. Then in 2018, a reporter phoned the police in Mesa. He told them a man had handed in a $1 bill that read, "My name is Mikaela Biggs, kidnapped from Mesa. I'm alive." This evidence was never validated because the fact that her name was spelt incorrectly. The trail went cold, as did the hope that Mikaela's sister would ever find her. So these are 10 creepy disappearances that to this day remain unsolved. Evidence may be handed in that might change that in the future, But until that happens, all of these cases will have many questions hanging over them. If you want to see more videos like this one, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to get the latest mysterious videos as and when they drop.